I want to talk about, again, you talk about the impact you made on the floor. Speaks for itself. You started every game over your 4-year career. Again, scored a record 1,972 points. Only the third player, by the way, at South Carolina to record over 1,000 rebounds. And again, you shot 58% from the floor. Remind me, Alex, this was pre-3-point line, correct?
Yeah, and free dunk. You couldn't dunk.
You couldn't dunk.
We could not dunk it.
Wow. I didn't know that was ever a thing.
Yeah,
Not allowed to dunk. Okay.
They outlawed it because Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was he was so great at
Right.
dunking and all the 7-footers that came out, so they just banned it for a while.
Wow. Well, anyways, I just love to hear you again expand on your career at South Carolina, specifically 2-time All-American. Like you said, you felt, and I want to mention this, by the way, you graduated with a bachelor's degree in English in 1976, which I'm sure you're very, very proud of, that you finished up, got the degree, and then went on to your professional career. But your career at South Carolina, obviously, again, it speaks for itself. You mentioned you were very confident in your game, and I would say for good reason, sir. Again, 2-time All-American, all-time scoring leader. I won't ask you to break down every single year, every single game. When you look back on your career at South Carolina, again, a lot of achievement, a lot of personal achievement, and again, doing it with Frank McGuire. Just reflect on that for us a bit.
Well, just to correct, I graduated with a degree, an interdisciplinary and study degree. My major was English.
Okay, I got you.
I wanted to graduate, so I had to just get an interdisciplinary degree.
Gotcha. Okay.
My focus was English, and which I love and still do, and all the things that go with it. Just reflecting on my career with Frank McGuire, I loved playing for the university. Frank was, Coach McGuire was, he was a people person, and he taught us the game, but he also taught us how to be gentlemen and the things that people remember about gentlemen, like giving a nice tip, or saying thank you, or helping somebody across the street, or opening the door for a person. He taught us those things as well. And the players that he brought from the North, they weren't so focused on race and that type of stuff that was going on, the problems with the races during that era. So I didn't have that problem to deal with on the teams. And then after that, after my first year there, then more African Americans came. So it was a wonderful experience. I got an opportunity back then. I can remember just being a student. I loved being a student. I can remember that during my era, they had this thing called streaking. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but streaking is when somebody would just get the nerve enough to get butt naked and run across campus, or run out in the stadium field. And I can remember, being out in front of the library there, and just in evenings when that was going on, we'd have lines. We'd have 2 rows all the way from one end of campus to the other end, and in the middle we had a room for a streaker to come by, and so people would get the nerve, and they would flash and they would run, and it was just awesome. My college days, and the other thing that I'm proud of as well is that during my era, Harry Walker, who was a fraternity brother of mine, became the first African American student body president, and during that era also we had the first Miss USC, who was African American. I don't quite remember her name, but there were a lot of things that were happening during that era that were groundbreaking, and to be a part of that was just awesome for me. And then I got a chance. I don't know if you know, at that time, South Carolina was not in the ACC. They had gotten out of the ACC
independent,
the year
right?
before I got there.
Yeah.
And we were an independent.
Yeah.
And during that time, the independent schools were the powerhouses. The DePauls, the Marquettes, the Manhattans, the St. John's. And we would travel, because of Coach McGuire, we would travel and play a lot of those independent schools, and we weren't so confined to an ACC, to a schedule like the ACC. So I got an opportunity to see more of the country, and I love travel. I think my joy for travel came out of that college era, when I got a chance to visit other cities and other states.
For sure. Alex, how do you feel your game evolved during your time in college? Because again, I'd love to hear, like, you're an NBA Hall of Famer. Like, were you in college thinking like, oh, my game's getting to that level where one day I'm going to be, I mean, you all have dreams and aspirations, right? And I'm sure your dream since you were a kid was to make the NBA, but I'm sure your game obviously had to evolve during the course of college, and you got drafted in the second round. I mean, kind of where did you feel like your game was? I'll ask you this. Where did you feel like your game was in 1976 when you got picked in the second round? Did you have the feeling of, I'm about to go to the league and make a splash? Or like, what was kind of going through your mind?
I did not feel like I was going to go to the league and make a splash. I felt like I was going to go to the league and just make the team. I was a second round pick. And my game in college was totally different from what I evolved into in the NBA. In college, I played right around the basket. I was getting a lot of lobs and a lot of post-ups. I used my leaping ability to be a good player. But once I got drafted in the NBA, I had to expand because I was a small forward and I had to face the basket. So the summer between the time I left college and becoming a rookie in the NBA, I worked all summer facing the basket, just working on a 1-2 dribble pull up. I was always a good rebounder and shot blocker, but I had to work on the part of my game that was lacking, and that was just my mid-range jump shot, my 1-2 dribble pull up. So I spent a lot of time working on that. And I can remember one of my former teammates, Kevin Joyce, who played at the university before me, he had said that Alex English is just not big enough. He's not physical enough to make it into the NBA. But he's a good player, but I don't think he can make it because of the physicality. And of course, that for me, that was just fuel on the fire. I worked, and back then there wasn't the strenuous weight training programs that they had, but so I had to kind of do my own stuff. I realized that I was going into a game that was a man's game, and I was thin. I was only 190 pounds. So I had to do the other things. I rebounded, I blocked shots. I was athletic as far as getting up and down the floor. So I had to do all those things that compensated for my lack of physical prowess or physical abilities. And as my years went on in the NBA, I started lifting and getting stronger and changing my game. And every summer I would say, okay, I've got to add something different to my game. So I would add a 1 dribble pull up or a 1-2 dribble pull up, or next summer I might add a running one-hander, or I might extend my range. So I really worked hard at developing my game.
Yeah, and on that
of course, I had in the summertime, I would come home and I would have Tyrone Corbin, Xavier McDaniel, Stanley Roberts, people like that to play against.
Yeah.